So, something I have been wondering, being that we're finding out that so much of history is a lie and science, everything has like a deep state agenda. Um, so, we're told, like, ever since I was a child, told about, save the world and humans are a cancer on the planet and blah, blah, blah. But what we realize is that there's been mass extinction events, and humans have devolved, and animals have devolved. Things are not becoming better, more complex. Everything is being slowly fumigated by all the toxins that the globalists put in to our earth, water, air, fire, the whole shebang, our psychology, our spirituality. So it dawned on me that maybe past, um, mass like plagues, that was probably engineered by the Babylonian Satanists, and even past cataclysms, such as the ending of maybe like prehistoric animal life. So it could be, and the thing is, Satan loves to imitate God. So of course God did the great flood, but he said he would only that was the only time he would do it. He gave us the rainbow as a promise to never flood the world, but Satan doesn't care. So Satan will do flooding and, plague and whatever. So we have the mud flood community that demonstrates all these buildings on every continent have these incredibly complex, architecturally advanced buildings that seem to be under 20 feet of mud. So the first floor is wiped out, is beneath below ground, and things will start. The floor appears. They make it appear today as the second floor. Like the first floor is the old second floor, but now the old second floor is the new entrance because it's been flooded. 12 feet or 20 feet. So we're told that we're a cancer on the planet. So the globalists keep on telling us, overpopulation, and you're harming the planet by existing. You're harming the planet by your carbon footprint. Basically, we're made up of carbon. We exhale carbon. So basically, they're saying, there's no excuse for you to be alive unless we say so. Unless you're going to provide good human torture, sacrifice, diversions for us. You don't have a right to live. That's what these satanic globalists really think. Like, when every time there's a globalist agenda and they're talking about human rights, the only rights they're talking about is their rights. They're not talking about our rights. When they're saying such and such has a right, or this is built back better, this is all for them. So there's probably maybe at most 2,000 of them, including their topmost minions. So they just care about 2,000 people themselves, their little club. And unfortunately, people are so ignorant and naive and lazy intellectually. Nobody, like, majority of people are like, oh, that couldn't be. There couldn't be this massive evil thing. Even though the CIA has stuff on their website, the FBI has stuff on their website, the U.S. government has stuff, historic. There's endless historic information, but these ignorant, I guess, useful idiots, and useless idiots just won't lift a finger to see the nature of reality. Even though the Bible says we fight not flesh and blood, but principalities, we are fighting something, and it's this organization. It's a principality. What's a principality? A principality is like a municipality. It's some sort of archetypal, hierarchical system. That's what we're fighting. We're fighting a system. That's what the Bible tells us. We fight not flesh and blood, but principalities in high places. So these are systems in high places with leverage that we're fighting. But nobody wants to look into it. And uh, so my thought is that past catastrophes and plagues and whatever was engineered by the Babylonian Satanists. They probably did a mud flood or multiple mud floods, of course, doing their own little reset. So they get rid of the capable people with integrity and they breed this useful idiot population. That's what they want. They want useful idiots who's going to procreate, who will provide them children to be sacrificed to demons, to Satan. That's really everything is human trafficking. Human trafficking makes the world go around, and there's hardcore human trafficking, that satanic ritual child abuse, of abuse of adults as well. And then there's softer human trafficking, where you force people into a medical situation or a mental institution or homelessness or drugs or whatever. So they're trapped in a system, and then they get exploited and trafficked. Insurance, that's a huge one. Um, and what's so evil about this system is, so you get trapped in the system, a system that you have been corralled into, like forced into, engineered into. And then when you're in the system, you're hated by the providers, by those who are in charge. You are blamed. How dare you be in the system? How dare you be alive? How dare you have the problems that make you have to be in the system that pays my paycheck? That's the thing. And I know these overeducated leftist liberals who think that if the government took care of everything would be great and the system would be great. And they're ignorant Americans who have been so pampered and privileged. Even if you're a black person, like I know black people who think, oh yeah, have everything be communism. And the only people that really seem to stand up and like are considered a problem are people who know what it's like to live in a communist culture. You hear people from Cuba, you hear people from Yugoslavia, or the former Yugoslavia, or other kind of like terrible communist cultures. Those are the only people who have been speaking up the last few years. And uh, but the progressive liberals are just like, yeah, take away our rights. It's worth it. And these progressive liberals who have social privilege, and I mean, black people can have social privilege too. Anybody who knows how to manipulate or whatever, they have social privilege, and that's the thing that I think this all the social justice movement ignores, is that if every LGBT person or BLM person or environmentalist, PETA activist, or trans activist, if everybody had $1 million, if all of those activists had $1 million, they would drop all of their shenanigans right now. And they would go off and fly and, buy a plane and, live in a villa in Spain and hire prostitutes and do a lot of drugs or whatever. They would have much better things to do than try to destroy civilization. And that's the interesting thing about these activists, is they want to destroy civilization, I think, out of nihilism, or they're just useful idiots and they have nothing going on above in their brain. Or or they're demonized, they're demonically possessed or something like that. So I just think that's important, before we indoctrinate our children, our grandchildren, ourselves, to think that we are a cancer on the planet. Perhaps there were other factors, other intelligent forces in the past that deliberately caused extinction level events of animals and dinosaurs and human beings. Now, dinosaurs, like, were those the dragons of old? It's my understanding a majority of all dinosaur fossils are created in China, in that there's no one intact, complete dinosaur skeleton. And I would think we would want to do DNA testing of each bone. I think there's a lot of assumption that's going on. And being that many giant humanoid bones have been stolen from us, from the public, and lost by the Smithsonian. Like, is the Smithsonian trafficking humanoid giant bones? Because if we had evidence of what the Bible telling us was true, then we would believe, because we would be able to see and believe. But I believe a lot of explorers, that explored around the world, or like Lewis and Clark and Johnny Appleseed. I believe all of these guys were actually hiding proof of giants, of the Garden of Eden, of whatever. Like, I believe that all of these famous travelers, explorers, famous countrymen who did stuff, I think they were busy erasing proof of God's existence and the truth of the Bible. And I believe it could be worldwide, because there are those giant, it looks like petrified giants, like Roger Spur of Mud Fossil University has a lot of amazing giant information, whether it's the Colossus or large mountain range scale giants. That seems very legitimate to me. And of course, universities don't want to look into it. Academia doesn't want to look into it, because they've got so much invested in this other paradigm, these other opinions. So, we're frightened and guilted into these scenarios that we're killing the planet, but it's not us. Satan is killing the planet. And of course, human beings shouldn't pour toxic waste down the gutter, and whatnot. Of course not. But we're not responsible for when there's some sort of World Economic Forum gathering and 4,000 private jets land in a certain location, and they're producing all this toxic waste, or using up all this whatever fuel. If airplanes are really even using airplane fuel, they're probably spraying chemtrails while they're going to the World Economic Forum, probably. So I just think there's more to our reality, sort of like that quote from Shakespeare. Then it's more to this reality than what you think, Horatio, or something like that. So yeah, I don't think, and it's really aggravating how many leftists, liberals, and even some conservatives are like, humans are cancer on the planet, blah blah blah, and they're totally ignoring what the globalists are doing, because it's these crony corporations that are pouring toxic waste into rivers. It's crony corporations and their lobbyists with the government that's allowing crimes against humanity, poisoning the water in different cities like Detroit or whatever. It's these secret clubs that are the problem. It's not me going to, like, using a plastic bottle. It's not you driving your car to work or to visit a family member. Like, our onesie twosie kind of activities is nothing compared to these crony corporations, and these lobbyists, and these bribed, bamboozled and brainwashed government officials. Um, like, that's where the majority of the toxins are sourced from. It's not even all of us put together. And if you look, like, YouTube deleted this one channel, but this channel was talking about how they were using this special kind of camera and then a standard kind of camera. And the standard camera has a fisheye lens, but this special kind of expensive camera shows distances accurately. So we are given a fake sense of distance that things are, I believe it's closer than they appear. Things are closer than they really are. And um, and this person also did like they used like I don't know if it's an altimeter, but they showed how many feet down that they went, and it didn't match what was on the books time and time again. And so Google deleted that channel. And unfortunately, I didn't realize how important and significant that work was. So I don't know all the terminology or whatever. But the point that the person was trying to make is that there's more land than we are being led to believe. So that point is that then that, like the person was saying, Alaska is probably bigger or Wyoming's probably bigger or such and such is bigger than we think it is. And we hear that some pilots say that the Earth is flat. I've seen so many videos where they say, yeah, it's flat without a question. And then, pilots see UFOs and pilots see other kind of strange things. So it seems like pilots are gatekeepers. And what's so interesting is people refuse to consider this other, like, I mean, these are legitimate professionals who are saying the Earth is flat. But ignorant people who are unwilling to investigate the matter will really get upset about considering this possibility. I mean, the Bible says the Earth is flat, as far as I understand. And so the point is, though, of me going on about this is that there's more space than we are being led to believe. So again, the Babylonian Satanists are like, there's too many people on the planet. There's not enough room. There's plenty of room. And I wonder, like, so perhaps they want fewer people because they know that maybe some of us will hold them to account for the crimes against humanity that they've perpetuated. Maybe that's what they're afraid of. Maybe they're afraid of too many intelligent people because they're certainly good at dumbing people down, clearly, as we can see. And I'm wondering if like the globalists hate pedestrians because when you're walking around, you see shady things going on. And when you're walking around and you're not obsessed with your phone, oh my gosh, I see so many people like walking their dogs with their face glued to their phone, or just walking and their face glued to their phone, like they're crossing the street without looking. They're going to bump into you because they expect everybody else to have situational awareness, and they're just like, I'm on my phone, so you get out of my way. What is going on? Like just don't walk. Like stay at home and have somebody spoon feed your food if you're going to surrender so much of your humanity to expecting everybody else to take care of you when you're walking down the street. But I'm thinking that the globalists are doing all their shady human trafficking, satanic ritual abuse kind of stuff, and they don't want pedestrians out and about because it does seem like there's just this hatred of pedestrians and like surveillance of pedestrians, as if a pedestrian is going to do something. Like criminals, they want things easy, so they're stealing a car and they're going to do their criminal activity in a car. There's just I know, and that's my that's my 2 cents. I don't know if that's statistically significantly verified, but I think like if somebody's going to be breaking the law, well, they're just going to they're going to break the law in a way that's convenient for them, because that's what criminals do. They're about convenience. But since that little plastic bag just fell on me, maybe I'm wrong. I mean, so yeah, let me know. Let me know if you know better. And of course, not all humans, I mean, not everybody is like a complete, like 100% criminal or whatever. Although we're all fallen, we're all fallible. I'm fallible, everybody's fallible. But I just wanted to say, though, that I think that the globalist Satanists have experience with directed energy weapons from times past, from hundreds of years ago. And I believe that these directed energy weapons and whatever else was used in the past, I believe chemtrails also existed in the past. And there's some interesting art that depicts, like, I forget what queen. It was one of the queens of England, I believe. And there's like this hose that's behind her, and I'm thinking that was some type of chemical spray that was either sprayed in the air or put in the water or something like that. Because yeah, if you're in the 1500s and you fluoridate the water, like, if you could, you do whatever, you poison your people, so you kill all the people so you can get all their land. I mean, like, a psychopath, a sociopath would have no problem with that. They would have no problem with that now. That's what they're trying to do now. That's why there's all these serial murderers running around getting paid a lot of money, to do a lot of evil things. And yeah, so it's terrible, and it's not it's not our fault. And so, you know, I know people who they're obsessed with recycling and being fastidious about their carbon footprint or whatever. And again, I'm not saying be a slob, but, like, things went extinct because of past evil fallen angel technology was like, wrought on the planet. And this terraforming, to cause another extinction level event has been released as well, in my opinion, with this nanotechnology. And, like, just wastewater not being treated for this new nanotechnology that was injected into people, um, over the past 3 years. And who knows, these injections have probably, like, I heard, what was it? Was it 2015? Somebody said that people who got the swabs in nursing homes uh, got a bad infection. The popular, they called it that popular one, but they had an injection. I think it was like 2015, or within the past 5 years. So they got the nasal swab in 2021, and in 2016, or so, 2015, 2016, they had an injection, the standard injection that they push on elderly people. And so these elderly people who had gotten a nasal swab got really sick after the swab. They didn't, and if you know, about the that PICR test, that was developed to determine the presence of venom. So that's what it was used for, to detect venom. And did you know that venom is a very common product that's used in cosmetics, in medications, in pesticides? Like, who doesn't have some sort of pesticide in their life, like, or agricultural pesticide? Like, we're all exposed to glyphosate, even if we're eating organic, because it gets into the water supply. So, of course, people are going to test positive for this venom because it's used in your skin cleanser, in your medication, and in the food that you eat. And it's in the atmosphere, and it's in these injections, because this is a friend of mine who's in her 70s or 80s said when she was a child, one of her family members was a pharmacist, and he said venom was used in medicine. And yeah, I mean, from what I understand, is a little bit of poison diluted can have an effect. So it is a common thing, and that's what PCR tests test for. And of course, PCR tests are not this, they're not the organic matter on a slide that you're looking at a microscope. It's like this computer tally. It's a generated quantity. And then if you look into this PCR test results, a good proportion of the DNA that's being analyzed happens to be in the human body. So this is a test that's been set up to fail. And this is a normal thing in from what I've observed about infectious diseases, because another like a real infection, the real epidemic, which I think is the problem, is Lyme disease and co-infections. The Lyme disease was generated, I believe, as a bio warfare weapon in Plum Island, and there's a book all about this. And uh, there's this doctor whose last name is Bergdorfery, and he's a Swiss doctor who, after Plum Island, and I think he also worked for the CIA or something like that, but he worked for at the Rocky Mountain Institute for Infectious Diseases in Montana. And there he released hard shell ticks. But today, if you have Lyme disease in Montana, an infectious doc will tell you there's no such thing as Lyme in Montana, even though the most famous, the guy who put Lyme on the map, who probably created this bioweapon, was in Montana for 40 years. 40 years. And this doctor, Bergdorfery, released hard shell ticks. So anyway, Lyme testing it's very hit or miss, because it's a very complex bioweapon, which is on purpose. They don't want a bioweapon to be easily remediated. Just that they don't want any, like heavy metals that they put into our atmosphere and whatever. So the testing is not reliable for Lyme. And the thing is, like, people are like, oh, well, if the testing's not good and if it's unreliable, then no big deal. The thing is, Lyme is a family disease. It's a burden on your whole family, and it's debilitating for the individual and the family, and it depletes the resources of the community, because you have somebody who's disabled, and it becomes physical or neurological or a combination, and it's contagious if you're around parasitic insects like ticks or fleas or mosquitoes. And so if you have Lyme and a mosquito bites you, and then it bites your dog, and then it bites your whoever, people can get Lyme that way. And so it's this hidden epidemic. And of course, medicine doesn't want to deal with it because it makes them money. Majority, in my opinion, of the most chronic illnesses are Lyme and parasite infections. So obesity, everybody tries to bash overweight people. And the thing is, there's all these toxins in our food and water and air, these hormone disruptors, these pesticides, which is killing your gut flora. Then we're using these crazy sanitizers and soaps and whatnot, which is killing your gut flora. And then, food is grown in this industrial fashion, so there's no friendly bacteria on your food, and people don't know how to prepare their food to have enough ferments going on. And then people are exposed to parasites. People don't do regular parasite cleanse. They don't fortify their body to handle parasite infections. And everybody has parasite infections. Then people have pets. They don't deworm their pets. They don't deal with their pets' fleas. And, pet owners are like, well, that's just good. Okay, I don't mind getting flea bit. But then other people have to get bit by fleas because that pet owner is bringing fleas on their cuffs of their pants to the workplace or to wherever, and then they're exposing us to these diseases. And I know people with pets would hate to hear this kind of truth, And because it's hard, you know, life is hard. Everybody's dealing with lack of energy, and so nobody has the energy or the interest of dealing with what their pets, the harm their pets bring. Uh, that's been my experience. Even if it harms themselves, it's like people are like they're ready to die for their animals, but then when you die, your pet has nobody to take care of it. So, anyways, it's a strange situation, but um, I think that we need to stop worrying that we are a cancer on the planet, and I think, you know, it's fair to wonder if past extinction level events and plagues happened due to uh, something that was actually engineered by folks who had technology, like Luciferians who had mud flood technology, earth disruption, that you could do like earth liquefaction. If you can just look up like earth liquefy, and there's like different vibrations that you can do that causes a house to slide off the face of the earth, you know, to into the sea. And of course, engineering tsunamis and earthquakes and so forth, and mind control. So I really, the more I kind of research this, the more I think that this is a fact. Um, and if we choose to look into it, I think we'll find some evidence. And I think we have to, instead of just naively trusting schools or the news or historians and stuff, I think we need to start all over, you know, like this is an inch, 12 inches equal a foot. How many feet tall is this mountain, or is this dinosaur, or, you know, what element is this really? And I think we need to vet what we're told is reality, because I believe we have just been operating off of opinions. So, uh, those are my thoughts. What do you guys think? Thanks for watching. God bless.